Imagine a world where every interaction was essential for survival, a time when connection was vital to understanding, protection, and cooperation. Neanderthals, who roamed Europe and Asia for hundreds of thousands of years, had no written language. Yet evidence shows they developed ways to communicate that were both complex and purposeful. From vocal sounds to symbolic art and social behaviors, they used unique methods to survive, thrive, and share knowledge across generations. But how did it all work? Let's step into their world and explore the ways Neanderthals connected. A single bone, the hyoid, provides a fascinating clue about Neanderthals' communication. Found deep in the throat, the hyoid bone is a small, U-shaped structure critical for producing sounds. When archaeologists discovered a Neanderthal hyoid, they noted it was similar to our own, suggesting they had the physical ability for vocalization. This resemblance to modern human anatomy raises the possibility that Neanderthals could control their vocal tracts, shaping sounds in ways that may have gone beyond simple grunts. It opens up the idea that their voices had a range, however limited, and could be modulated for different purposes. But what kind of sounds did they make? Neanderthals could form basic sounds, possibly vowel-like tones and consonants, essential for conveying meaning. This doesn't confirm they had complex language like ours, but it points to the potential for spoken communication. Their voices may have been deeper, more resonant, fitting for the rugged landscapes they inhabited. Each sound might have carried information, warning, guiding, or expressing emotions in ways we are only beginning to understand. Neanderthals might have had a distinct call to alert each other to nearby predators, to coordinate during a hunt, or to signal locations for gathering. This ability to produce vocal signals likely strengthened group bonds, allowing for cooperation and shared experiences in ways that were crucial for survival. Producing sounds is just one side of the equation. Hearing and interpreting them is equally essential. Researchers have studied Neanderthals' ear structures using high-resolution CT scans to show that they had a hearing range similar to ours. They could detect high frequencies, the kind involved in distinguishing consonants, sounds that add meaning and clarity to communication. This hearing range would have allowed them to perceive subtle differences in pitch and tone, essential for understanding not only words, but also emotions and intentions behind sounds. Their auditory capacity opens up the possibility that Neanderthals could interpret a broad range of sounds and recognize unique vocal signatures within their groups. With this range, Neanderthals could recognize subtle variations in sound, enabling them to interpret vocal cues. This skill would have been essential for understanding complex information within a group, whether coordinating on a hunt, sharing resources, or protecting each other from threats. Just imagine, a whispered warning or a call for assistance could have meant the difference between life and death. Even in quieter moments, the ability to hear and understand could have strengthened bonds within the group. Through nuanced vocal exchanges, Neanderthals could share experiences, communicate safety, and convey empathy, enhancing trust and cohesion within the close-knit communities. This auditory ability wasn't merely functional. It likely became an intrinsic part of Neanderthals' social life, fostering connections and cooperation essential for survival. Neanderthal communication wasn't limited to vocalization. Archaeologists have uncovered cave paintings, abstract symbols, and traces of pigment use that suggest a symbolic form of communication. These symbols weren't decorative. They likely held social, cultural, or even spiritual meaning. Engravings, handprints, and geometric shapes suggest a form of expression that might have conveyed ideas beyond the spoken word. Such markings reflect more than artistic impulse. They hint at a need to communicate complex concepts and memories that words alone may not have captured. These symbols may have served as messages or markers for other groups, a form of storytelling that could outlast the individuals who created them. Did they use these symbols to communicate territories, mark events, or record family lines? We may never know, but this symbolic thought marks a significant step towards the development of complex communication systems. The presence of symbols also suggests an awareness of identity, perhaps a way to define social groups or clans within the broader Neanderthal communities. Through these markings, Neanderthals could express shared values, pass down knowledge, and preserve legacies, creating connection that reached beyond their immediate lives. This early symbolic behavior points to a rich, layered form of communication, a bridge between generations and a foundation for the symbolic thought that would define human culture in a millennia to come. Neanderthal life centered around small, close communities. To survive, they needed to work together. coordinate hunts, share resources, and care for the young and injured. This lifestyle required a form of social communication, possibly rooted in gestures, sounds, and expressions. Neanderthals might have relied on body language, facial expressions, and hand signals to convey meaning within their groups. Their interactions would have been rich with non-verbal cues, each movement or glance carrying essential information for maintaining harmony and structure within the group. Imagine the intensity of communication when a successful hunt depended on precise timing and teamwork, or when sharing scarce resources was crucial. Evidence of caregiving suggests that Neanderthals understood compassion and empathy, qualities that also rely on a form of communication. These gestures of care extended beyond immediate survival needs, showing that they valued the well-being of each member. By interpreting subtle cues, they could build bonds, foster cooperation, and strengthen group survival. In close-knit settings, this level of connection would have been vital, allowing Neanderthals to create networks of trust and loyalty. This foundation of empathy and mutual support was not just a survival tactic, but an integral part of their social identity, shaping a way of life that kept their communities strong across generations. Archaeological findings, like those at Shanidar Cave, provide glimpses into Neanderthals' compassion. The remains of an elderly Neanderthal male who had suffered severe injuries show evidence of long-term care by his group members. Despite multiple fractures and debilitating conditions, he lived well beyond the onset of these injuries, suggesting that others ensured his survival. This level of empathy and social support hints at a complex social structure where individuals communicated care and understanding. Neanderthals weren't merely surviving day to day. They valued the lives of each member and made intentional efforts to support one another. Caring for others requires a system of trust and communication. Group members needed to express when they were in pain or in need, and others had to respond with actions that went beyond instinct. This social support demanded a shared understanding, a code that connected them in times of need and strengthened their communities. It indicates a social bond that was likely nurtured through gestures, expressions, and sounds of comfort, conveying empathy and reassurance. The act of caring for an injured or elderly member also suggests that Neanderthals saw value in each individual, regardless of their immediate ability to contribute to daily tasks. Through these acts, they cultivated a resilient community where compassion, trust, and loyalty were essential, forming bonds that fortified them against the harsh realities of their world. The genetic legacy of Neanderthals lives on today, with traces of their DNA found in modern humans. This interbreeding between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens suggests that these two groups communicated well enough to interact, possibly even forming alliances. Genetic studies imply that they may have shared common methods of expression or language elements that allowed them to connect and coexist, at least temporarily. The fact that interbreeding occurred points to a significant level of social interaction, where shared understanding, however basic, was established between two distinct groups. This exchange of genes wasn't just biological. It suggests a cultural overlap that left its mark on humanity. Their genes remind us of the shared history we have with our ancient relatives and the forms of understanding that transcend words. These interactions may have involved exchanges of knowledge, survival techniques, and perhaps even beliefs or customs, influencing early Homo sapiens development. This connection between the two groups signifies more than mere coexistence. It hints at a mutual respect and courtesy that shaped both populations. Today, the traces of Neanderthal DNA in modern humans serve as a living testament to this ancient bond, reminding us of the complexity and depth of our shared ancestry. Neanderthals were skilled tool makers, crafting complex hand axes, spears, and cutting tools with remarkable precision. Their ability to pass down this knowledge suggests a system of communication to teach and preserve these skills. Each tool had a specific purpose, and mastering their construction would have taken instruction and practice. These tools themselves could have served as a form of non-verbal language, a representation of identity, skills, and the collective knowledge of the group. These items were not just functional, they embodied the ingenuity and adaptability of Neanderthal culture. By understanding and replicating these tools, Neanderthals passed down a legacy that stretched across generations. Teaching methods, techniques, and the importance of specific tools required a shared understanding, a silent code that continued to develop over the centuries. Younger generations likely observed and learned through hands-on guidance, an apprenticeship of sorts that strengthened bonds and preserved essential survival skills. Each tool was a link to a chain of shared knowledge, ensuring that each generation built upon the achievements of the last. This practice of teaching and learning tools reflected a sophisticated communication system, one that allowed Neanderthals to adapt, innovate, and maintain a sense of continuity within their communities. From their voices to their art, gestures, and genes, Neanderthals created a complex world of communication. Each interaction contributed to their survival and the bonds that connected them as a species. As we uncover more of their story, we see that communication has always been at the heart of human connection, a bridge across time that links us with our ancient relatives. Neanderthals remind us of the resilience and adaptability that define humanity, a legacy that echoes in us today.